Hi, this is Jonathan with Fishing with Faith Outdoors. I'm glad y'all tuned back in today. I want to try something a little different this year. Instead of trying to make an hour, 2 hour long video on the water on the boat or walking around the pond on a weekend, I'm going to try to do, because I fish more during the week, when I get off work, and whenever time provides me to be able to fish. Working man, family man, gotta keep both ends of the scale happy. So, just squeeze in what I can. So I'm gonna do, fish catches or whatever throughout the week or a couple weeks, depending on how much fishing I get to do, and just put together a video of show y'all what I use, when I use it, and how I use it, instead of show you a bunch of baits that you probably never will use. So just do videos on what I fish, and I will try new stuff and see how it works, and if it catches fish, it catches fish, and that's awesome. But if it don't, then we may not use that again, or just use it in a different environment or a different situation. So I'm just going to keep it that simple. I'm not going to try to sell you on a bunch of stuff. I'm not here to sell you on anything other than try to help you. So we're going to try that and see how it works, and y'all just follow me, and please like and subscribe to the channel. I greatly appreciate it. And hopefully get some fish catches today. So we got some wind blowing, and we're just going to throw around a spinner bait and a jig and see what happens. Thanks for watching. We'll see y'all shortly. All right, so first things first, we're going to start out with a spinner bait. This is a Googan Squad. It looks like a bluegill. Not a whole lot of spinnerbait companies that makes a spinnerbait look like a bluegill, so it's good for these lakes and ponds, if they're feeding on bluegill or whatever. But we're gonna give it a shot and see what happens. It's a 3/8 size. Okay, I got it on. I put some 65-pound braid on here because I had some left over, and I just throwing it around. Braid's good for wood and grass, not so much for rock. You don't have to have braid for a spinnerbait unless you just want to. Typically, I use 15-pound fluorocarbon. Got it on 7. What is this? 7:1:1. Anyway, you want about a 7 gear ratio, somewhere between 7:1, 7:4 gear ratio reel. Typically, a slower reel gear ratio like a 6.5 will be plenty for a spinnerbait. So you don't want to reel it too fast. Some applications, sometimes you do want to reel it fast, depending on what you're doing. But got cold water, got wind blowing. Good day for spinnerbait. That wind blowing like it is, overcast. Good day for spinnerbait. Typically a medium heavy is what you want to throw it on. It's a medium heavy, fast action rod. So let's give it a whirl and see what happens. And you see the winds blowing against this wood, this standing timber or bushes, whatever you want to call it. And we're just going to cast a few times out there and see anything shallow. And then if nothing bites on the spinnerbait, then we'll throw a jig in this area and see what happens. And how I fish a spinnerbait in the wintertime, you want to kind of roll it, slow roll it a little bit. Start out with that in the wintertime, and if you're not getting hit on that in these conditions, then try to speed it up a little bit. And if you're not hitting that, then slow down with a Texas rig or a jig and see if that gets you bite. Not just because it's the wind's blowing or it's spinnerbait conditions doesn't mean it's spinnerbait conditions. They can be in any mood. So I just slow roll it like this right here and just give it a little pop here and there, trying to put a little bit of action in it to entice a bite. So that thing looks good in the water. Looks real good in the water. If I was a fish, I'd eat that. I've caught at least 3 6-pounders out of here and a 5-pounder out of here. So it's not this PFA here in Cochran Eastman, Old Muggy PFA, it's, from what I hear, it's not a numbers, it's a more of a weight. But I don't know. I don't fish it as much as other guys do, but I've been catching fish out of here, here and there. So, all right, well, y'all just stick around and hopefully we'll get on one soon. Well, nothing on the spinnerbait yet, but my next setup is gonna be a jig. I have a video on jigs. I'll link that in the description and kind of give you an idea of what I do. This is 6 cents hybrid jig. Love this jig. All right. I even explain how I trim the guard and the trailers I use. This is just a Berkley, I think it's a chigger crawl, something like that. It's a good bait. 15-pound fluorocarbon. The reel 13 Fishing Origin 1. Love this reel. 7. Let's see, what is it? 7:3 to 1 gear ratio. Medium heavy Berkley amp rod. Good rod. I like it so far. Good reel. This is 15-pound P-line fluorocarbon or fluorocarbon coated polycobbler or cobbler, polycobbler, whatever, how you pronounce the darn stuff. I can't talk. I can't hardly say things I want to say sometimes. But anyway, P-line 15-pound fluorocarbon coated line. But anyway, we're gonna cast this around a little bit and flip it on some wood and all, and see if we can get anything on jig. Cloudy days like this, overcast black and blue jig is what you want to use. This has got a little green pumpkin in it. It's a good blend of both. So I've caught some big bass here on this. Matter of fact, a couple 6-pounders. So good bait, good conditions of fish. You can see I got short sleeves on, so if it stays like this a couple of days, that makes them pull up shallow, because these shallow waters will warm up faster than them deep waters, so they'll pull shallow. Muddy waters will make fish come shallow, cold or hot. Okay, so always remember that. But anyway, isolated pieces of timber or bushes sticking out is what you want to cast to. Anything that looks different than what's, well, I know that's kind of, hard to say, but that, but anyway, anything that's looks different or stands out, cast to it or flip to it. And I got a flipping video on here too. I'll put those two on there so that kind of go along with your jig. So let's see what we turn up with. I'm not gonna be able to flip that. I'm just gonna have to cast over there to it. I should have put my rubber boots on. I keep forgetting to do that because it keeps the water out of my socks and my work boots. So basically I just throw it out there, and you can either drag it. I'm not sure what the water temperature is, but drag it or just give it a little bit of, a few little hops. You want to make a mimicking a crawfish. I know I clear my throat a lot. It's just these sinuses, man. They've just been, here the past month or so, they've been working on me. But anyway, what I was saying is mimicking a crawfish. That's what we're mimicking. So you want to make it act like a crawfish. Now you can swim this jig too. The head on its shape, you can swim it. Okay. So anyway, try to be as helpful as much as I can. I know I don't try to say things I try to say and they don't come out right, but hopefully y'all understand what I'm saying. So we're gonna stick with this for a little bit and see if anything turns up. So y'all just stick around. Not sure what's going on, but I'm throwing it. If you have a similar situation right here, you see here. All right, this was a road. This used to be the original pond. All right, and the road goes across here. You can see that opening right there that kind of curves around. That's the road bed. This used to be the original pond. They opened it up and the dam's way down there. So all I'm doing is I'm casting it out, especially these cold, it's been cold. There was a cold front that pushed in a couple of days ago, and now this front's moving in, and I'm just throwing it out there and letting it sink to the bottom on a slack line. And once it hits the bottom, I engage my reel, and I've been rolling it across there. I can't tell if I hit something or feel like something hit it. So we'll do it again. So if it's a slow bite like it has been the past couple of days, then I'll drag this jig. So I'm just taking and bumping it off the bottom to get them blades rolling. And I'm just slowly reeling it. And typically you want a slower reel gear ratio reel, like a 6.5 to 1 or something of that nature. This is a 7.3 to 1, so I want to reel it as slow as I possibly can just to turn them blades on the bottom and see if get a bite that way. Okay, so all right. Not sure if I'm getting a bite. I'm just dragging it and it's hitting something. So with this wind blowing like that, it's kind of hard to tell. This braid is really sensitive. You don't need braid. 15-pound fluorocarbon with a spinnerbait is just fine. But anyway, I thought I'll show y'all that. Typically you throw a spinnerbait in and around wood, let it bounce off the wood cover and create strike, and don't just straight retrieve it. Throw it out around your target, or basically past your target, and reel it past it, or just bumping into it. I wouldn't reel it in no thick stuff. These things are weedless to an extent, but mainly they're fairly weedless. But just reel it a little bit, just give it a little thump like that, and just reel it, speed it up, let it fall, reel it. You know, just put action in it. Just not a lot of action, just a little bit. You know, and it entice the fish wanting to bite it. Okay, you can reel it and straight retrieve it, but you got them blades and you want them blades to flutter. Let's see if I can get over here. You want these blades to flutter and kick and to skirt the pulse, you know, to mimic a real fish, you know, just kind of that kind of thing. So just imagine you at a so I'm gonna throw it over here to this wood, let it go down a little bit, then just kind of get it started there. Just imagine you're at a buffet and you walk up to the food and like, man, I just don't know what I want to eat, you know. But then it starts all trying to move. Well, what you gonna do? It's all trying to move, get away from it. What you gonna do? You gonna start stabbing at something. You have something to put on your plate. So just because the bass don't want to eat, you can make movements in your bait. Sometimes it can be too much. Sometimes it can not be too much, and they'll entice them to eat. So just play around with your stuff. You know, you never know. Just play around with it. And the spinnerbait catches big bass, and a lot of bass when they want to eat it. But today is a good day for it, but not necessarily that they want this today, but it is the spinnerbait conditions, that is for sure. All right, so I just hooked a stick over here, but I want to show you this, why I'm fixing to have to do it. I think I left it out of a couple of videos on the spinnerbait. But anyway, once you pull your wire out, you want to squeeze it back down. You don't want it touching the hook, but you want it fairly compact a little bit, unless you just want it wider. But I like mine a little bit compact, something like that right there. All right, and then you want the wire straight in line with the hook. So you just basically look down it like this and make sure, you know, the wires in line with that hook. Okay, that helps it keep it weedless to an extent. Like I said, they will get hung up. I've been hung up more running a trailer hook than anything, but it comes through stuff pretty darn good. Just make that in line with the hook and make sure it's pretty compact. You don't want this way out here for any reason. Like I said, unless you just want to, but generally that's how I keep it. All right, well, we're trying. It could be just one of them days that it's just a real slow bite. So y'all just hang in there, and if we don't get nothing today, and we'll try it again tomorrow or the next day. Well, I did something, a rookie mistake. When you walk in these banks, you need to be careful how you just walk. I just spooked a big bass right here. I seen him swim that way, so we're gonna try to get him. I don't know what direction he went. He could have been in there anywhere. But when you walk in these banks, try to make casts before you get there. And I made that rookie mistake not doing that. But I walked these banks 100 times before and just never seen anything. But you never know. You never know. So you say, well, there ain't gonna be no bass through there, and boom, there's one. So spooked him. That's a good sign though. If there's one up shallow, there's probably more up shallow. So we're gonna keep. I don't know if they're gonna eat the spinnerbait today. If I can get in front of him, he might eat it. He, she, whatever it is. And, may throw a jig over there in just a second and see. But just keep that in mind. Try to make casts to an area before you walk up to it, because like I said, you never know. It could be that 10-pounder or 20-pounder. 20-pounder is being caught. Matter of fact, the very first 20-pounder caught, that was probably put on record, was in Telluride County, Georgia, just below where I live. So let's see what old jig does. So we'll see what the jig does. There you go. Them birds should make a lot of noise. Anyway, it's starting to rain, folks. It's getting late, and already got a little going on, so I don't need to get anything funky. So we gave it our best. Just been tough conditions past 2 days or so. Yesterday I had a fish really slow with a shaky head. We did get 2 bites yesterday. Could have got more, I guess, but in and out with a realtor trying to find a house. But anyway, all right, well, we'll see what happens tomorrow, and see we can't get on tomorrow. It's supposed to be better temperatures and all, but anyway. All right, well, thanks for watching.